Hello and welcome to the Alpha Edge Podcast, the show for men over 50 who refuse to fade out, slow down, play small, or settle for average. I'm your host, Kevin English. I'm a healthy aging expert, coach, and founder of the Alpha Edge, and I am here to help you get and stay strong in every dimension of your life, physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, and spiritually. You're here because you're ready to reclaim your power, to own your masculinity, and lead your life with strength and purpose. If you're ready to sharpen your edge, revive your drive, and lead like a man who's built for more, you're in the right place. All right, men, let's get after it. All right, men, let me ask you something here. What would you do if the world told you to bow down and you knew deep in your soul that standing was the right thing to do? Would you cave? Would you compromise? Or would you stand your ground even if it cost you everything? Today's episode is a call to every man listening who's sick of being told what to believe, how to act, and who to be by a culture that's lost its damn mind. We are going back to an ancient story from the book of Daniel in the Bible about three men who stood tall when everyone else fell to their knees. These weren't passive men. These weren't finger-to-the-wind followers. These were warriors of conviction. Their names were Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And they were thrown into a literal furnace for refusing to bow down to a false idol. And what happened next? Well, let's just say this story has some fire of its own. But this isn't just about ancient history. This is about you right now, today. Because modern men are being asked to bow down every damn day. To comfort, to fear, to political correctness, to weakness disguised as virtue. And I'm here to tell you, real men stand. So buckle up, men. We are diving into a story that's going to ignite your spirit and challenge you to reclaim your God-given strength. Let's get to it. Okay, folks, here we go. I was going to try and summarize this story. We find this story in the Bible, in the book of Daniel in the Old Testament. This is the book of Daniel, chapter 3, and it is verses 1 through 30. So that's the entirety of book 3. But as opposed to me trying to recap this story, since it's fairly short, bear with me as I read you this story as we find it in the Bible. So it starts like this. King Nebuchadnezzar made an image of gold, 60 cubits high and 6 cubits wide, and set it up on the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. He then summoned the satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all of the other provincial officials to come to the dedication of the image he had set up. So the satraps, prefects, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, and magistrates, and all the other provincial officials assembled for the dedication of the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up, and they stood before it. Then the herald loudly proclaimed, "Nations and people of every language, this is what you are commanded to do. As soon as you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, you must fall down and worship the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Whoever does not fall down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace." Therefore, as soon as they heard the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, and all kinds of music, all the nations and people of every language fell down and worshiped the image of gold that King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. At this time, some astrologers came forward and denounced the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar, "May the king live forever. Your majesty has issued a decree that everyone who hears the sound of the horn, the flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music must fall down and worship the image of gold, and whoever does not fall down and worship will be thrown into a blazing furnace. But there are some Jews who you have set over the affairs of the province of Babylon, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who pay no attention to you, your majesty. They neither serve your gods nor worship the image of gold you have set up." Furious with rage, King Nebuchadnezzar summoned Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So these men were brought before the king. And Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you do not serve my gods or worship the image of gold I have set up? Now when you hear the sound of the horn, flute, zither, lyre, harp, pipe, and all kinds of music, if you are ready to fall down and worship the image I have made, very good. But if you do not worship it, you will be thrown immediately into a blazing furnace. Then what God will be able to rescue you from my hand?" Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied to him, "King Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you in this matter. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God we serve is able to deliver us from it, and he will deliver us from your majesty's hand. But even if he does not, we want you to know, your majesty, that we will not serve your gods or worship the image of gold you have set up." Then Nebuchadnezzar was furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and his attitude toward them changed. He ordered the furnace heated 7 times hotter than usual and commanded some of the strongest soldiers in his army to tie up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. So these men, wearing their robes, trousers, turbans, and other clothes, were bound and thrown into the blazing furnace. The king's command was so urgent and the furnace so hot that the flames of the fire killed the soldiers who took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and these 3 men, firmly tied, fell into the blazing furnace. Then King Nebuchadnezzar leapt to his feet in amazement and asked his advisors, "Weren't there 3 men that we tied up and threw into the fire?" They replied, "Certainly, your majesty." The king said, "Look, I see 4 men walking around the fire, unbound and unharmed, and the 4th looks like the son of the gods." Nebuchadnezzar then approached the opening of the blazing furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came out of the fire, and the satraps, prefects, governors, and royal advisors crowded around them. They saw that the fire had not harmed their bodies, nor was a hair on their head singed. Their robes were not scorched, and there was no smell of fire on them. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise be to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angel and rescued his servants. They trusted in him and defied the king's command, and they were willing to give up their lives rather than serve or worship any god except their own. Therefore, I decree that the people of any nation or language who say anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be cut into pieces and their houses be turned into piles of rubble, for no other God can save in this way." Then the king promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. Okay, thanks for bearing with me as I stumble my way through that story, but let's talk about idols. King Nebuchadnezzar built a massive golden statue, 90 feet tall, and he made it the center of worship. Then he commanded everyone to bow or to burn. And what did the crowd do? They bowed. No questions, no resistance, no convictions, just blind obedience to whatever the culture told them to do. Sound familiar? Now, we may not be facing golden statues today, but make no mistake, modern culture is still in the idol-making business. It's just traded the gold statues for something a little sneakier, more seductive. Today, we're being told to bow to the idol of comfort. Don't do anything hard. Just relax, scroll, sip, and numb out. We're told to bow to relativism, that there's no truth, no right or wrong, just your truth and my truth, unless your truth, of course, doesn't fit the narrative. We're told to bow to passivity, to be nice, be soft, don't rock the boat. We're told to worship status, money, attention, porn, politics, acceptance. The list goes on and on. And if you don't bow, if you dare to stand firm in your convictions, you'll be mocked, canceled, isolated, or labeled as a toxic male. But here's the thing. Real men don't bow to culture, they lead it. Masculine men, men like you and I, don't take their marching orders from trending hashtags or mass consensus. You don't have to serve false gods, and you don't fold just because the crowd is kneeling. The world might offer you comfort for bowing, but you weren't made for comfort. You were made for conviction. So let me ask you this. What are you being asked to bow to? Where are you compromising? Where are you trading courage for comfort and masculinity for acceptance? It's time to tear down the modern idols and to stand. So let's break this story down, because what these 3 men did wasn't just brave, it was masculine in its purest form. They didn't protest, they didn't rage, they didn't beg. They stood calm, clear, and unshakable. So let's just talk for a minute about the 3 masculine virtues these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, modeled. Virtues every man listening to this should be forging in himself every single day, and that's conviction, courage, and commitment. So number 1, conviction. Their identity wasn't up for debate. They didn't need a crowd to validate them or a king to approve of them. They had a moral backbone, an inner compass that wasn't for sale. Most men today, they're aimless. They're afraid to stand for anything because they don't know what they believe. But men with conviction, They don't chase trends. They stand in the truth. And that starts with knowing your core beliefs and refusing to apologize for them. Number 2, courage. Look, this wasn't some hypothetical existential threat. This was a real furnace, hot enough to kill the guards who stood too close. And yet Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego didn't flinch. They stared death in the face and said, "We're not bowing. Throw us in." And that's not just courage. That's lion-hearted masculinity. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. It means doing what's right even when you're afraid. It means showing up for your family, your faith, your mission, even when it's inconvenient, unpopular, or dangerous. That's what real men do. And number 3, commitment. And this is the part that really stands out for me. These men said, "Our God can save us, but even if he doesn't, we still won't bow." That's some next level commitment. They weren't in it for the outcome. They weren't bargaining with God. They were willing to burn for what they believed in. In a world full of quitters, soft men, and guys who bail at the first sign of hardship, we need men who will stand and who will stay. Men who will hold the line. Men who stay faithful to their wife, their calling, their code, even if it costs them. That's the essence of masculine integrity and energy. You're not just in it when it's easy. You're in it all the way. These are the virtues that forge great men: courage, conviction, and commitment. And here's the deal. Those aren't handed to you. They're built, they're earned, refined. And today, you're either building them or you're bowing to something. All right, now let's talk about the fire, because here's what we need to get clear on. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego weren't delivered from the fire. They were delivered through the fire. That furnace, it wasn't avoided. They got tied up, dragged in, tossed into an inferno so hot it killed the guards who threw them in. And then something wild happened. The king looks into the fire and he says, "Didn't we throw in 3 men? Then why do I see 4? And why does the 4th look like the son of the gods?" Come on now. That's not just a metaphor. That's a freaking miracle. Can I get an amen? And here's the truth for you, brother. You will walk through fire. You will face pressure. You will be tested. You will be scorched by life's heat, physically, mentally, spiritually. But you don't go in alone. And when you walk through that fire with conviction, courage, and commitment, you come out refined, not destroyed. Not a hair singed, not a scar on your skin, no smoke on your clothes, just proof that the fire wasn't your enemy, it was your forge. That's the nature of fire for masculine men. For boys, fire breaks them. For men, fire builds them. So next time your life heats up, don't run, don't fold, don't curse the fire. Walk through it with your head high, shoulders square, eyes fixed. Because what's on the other side of that furnace? Power, strength, promotion, purpose. Just like it was for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And that, my friend, is how men are made. So here's the question that matters the most right now. Where in your life are you being asked to bow down? Maybe it's not a golden statue. Maybe there's no blazing furnace. But make no mistake, you are standing on your own plane of Dora every single day. Maybe it's in your marriage, where you've been avoiding hard conversations, playing it safe instead of leading with strength and love. Maybe it's in your health. You know what needs to change, but you keep bowing down to convenience, excuses, and comfort food. Maybe it's in your faith. You believe, but you've been passive, keeping your convictions tucked away so you don't offend anyone. Or maybe it's in your work. You're cutting corners, compromising integrity, doing what's easy instead of doing what's right. Whatever it is, men, here's the truth. You were not built to bow. You were built to stand. You were built to lead. You were built to carry weight. And just like those 3 men in Babylon, your strength is tested not when things are easy, but when the pressure's on. So here's your 4-part framework for living this out starting today. Number 1, identify the idol. Ask yourself honestly, what am I bowing to right now? It could be approval, porn, passivity, fear. Don't sugarcoat it, name it, call it what it is. Number 2, refuse to bow. Draw the line. Decide today that you will not serve anything that steals your strength, weakens your resolve, or dishonors your God. Number 3, stand firm. Get rooted in something bigger than yourself. Truth, values, scripture, brotherhood. Stand even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. Number 4, trust the outcome. You don't control the fire, but you do control your integrity. Stand anyway. Even if it costs you, even if he doesn't rescue the way you hoped, stand anyway. Men like this are rare. Men like this are powerful. Men like this are dangerous in the best possible way, and men like this are what this world desperately needs right now. We are alpha edge men. This is what we do. We don't whine, we don't bow, we don't wait for permission. We stand, we lead, we endure, because that's what men do. All right, so there you go, guys. This is one of my favorite stories in the Bible, the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. You've seen the virtues, you know the fire. Now it's time to do something with it, because the world doesn't need more passive men. It doesn't need more guys who coast through life with their heads down and their mouths shut. The world needs you, and it needs you on fire, standing tall, unshakable in your values. So here's your Alpha Edge challenge for this week. Identify one area where you've been bowing and make a stand. Maybe it's your fitness. Maybe it's your faith. Maybe it's your marriage, your integrity, your time, your habits, your words. But pick one area, call out the idol, and make the decision right now that you will no longer kneel to it. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Pray over it. And then walk it out like a man. All right, man, that's what I've got for you this week. If this message stirred something in you, maybe it punched you in the chest and it said, "Wake up, warrior," then I want to hear about it. Do me a favor, shoot me a message at kevin@silveredgefitness.com. Just shoot me a quick email. Let me know what you think. Until next time, stay strong, stand firm, and lead well. Okay, men, that's our show for this week. Don't forget to download our free guide titled How to Raise Your Testosterone Naturally. You can find the download link in the show notes for this episode on whatever app you're listening to this podcast on. If you've enjoyed today's show, here are 3 ways you can support us. Number 1, share this episode with a friend. Number 2, make sure to like and follow this show, and please consider leaving us a 5-star review. Number 3, give us a follow over at Instagram. We're at Alpha Edge Army. So that's Alpha Edge Army all run together. I really appreciate you men taking the time to listen. And until next week, stay strong.